On Monday, MotoGP released the 2027 regulations that are expected to make the sport safer, more sustainable, and even more spectacular. Now, the 2027 bikes will be more road relevant, effective and efficient, and powering global sustainability as well. Now, when the regulations were developed, the goal was to improve the on-track product and create more overtaking. The engine size will decrease from 1000cc to 800cc to decrease top speeds. That is making MotoGP safer and increasing mileage to make it more sufficient and sustainable. Now, the 850cc regulator is still needing to be passed fully. So at the moment, it can only be capped to 800cc. That will, however, change with the new fuel, as we said as well, because MotoGP will have 100% sustainable fuel, which is an increase from the minimum 40% they've raced with since the start of this season in 2024. Now, aerodynamics will be reduced and more tightly controlled, with the goal of decreasing the negative effects. Now, the teams will only be able to upgrade the rear set aero once per season to help control costs, and additionally, all ride height and whole shot devices will be banned. And GPS data from all the riders will be available to all teams after each session in an effort to lower the level and playing field. The graphic courtesy there of MotoGP. Well, first of all, the GPS data being available was something that we had, even as fans, up until 2017, when Dorna took it away from us. To get that back is brilliant. So if the teams have it, we'll have it, which will help us in the commentary box and certainly help me with my battle screens. But, Matt, do you give the 2027 regulations from MotoGP a thumbs up or thumbs down?
Well, I think I'm kind of here.
Yeah.
Banning of the whole shot and the all of that stuff, excellent, brilliant, good, because the electronic race is just getting silly. But so there's a couple of other things that not so sure about. Maybe going down to 850 looks on the outside as a bit of a hello, they're taking a step back. But don't forget, we've done this already before when we went out of 500 up to 1,000 to match World Superbike in the early 2000s, then went back or /990, wasn't it then? I always remember Toby Moody always calling it the 990 era. Then going back to 800 and then going back to 1,000 again. So that's fluctuated all about. The engine size will only be slightly bigger than the Moto2 Triumph engine, which is currently being run, which is a 675, but they're getting more horsepower and whatnot out of the MotoGP engine because, of course, the Triumph engine is road derived. So people have been jumping on that, going, "Oh, they're only going to be 2 seconds a lap quicker than Moto2. What's the point?" When really, they're really not.
Something smashed downstairs. I don't know if you heard that.
No, I didn't. The good thing is the aero stuff, because that has just gone. They don't look like MotoGP bikes anymore, do they? I mean, Ducati have been at the forefront of this, and everybody's trying to keep up with them. And I think that's one of the reasons why the Japanese manufacturers have fallen away, Honda and Yamaha, last few years, because that's just not their bag, baby, to use an Austin Powers reference. Yeah, exactly right. Never has been. And now they can, as you say, leveling of the playing field, getting everybody back to a baseline. And this is what's happened before. We've seen it with Formula One when we've had a big regulation change. Everybody comes in with the same level, and there will be new teams and new riders and new manufacturers towards the front. And this is another thing. They will now potentially, the carrot of BMW has been dangled over MotoGP for many, many years. BMW have now got their rider in Toprak Razgatlioglu in World Superbike. They finally got him. They've snatched him away from Yamaha. And he's already winning races on the bike, which has been terrible for quite some time. But he's been masterful so far this season, and he's already winning races. If they can come, BMW, with Toprak at a point where the regulations change, then we need to look out for that, because that would be big. What happens to Kawasaki, we don't know, because they're going out of World Superbike at the end of the season in a slightly odd deal with Motor. That's something to maybe pick up on at a later date. But as a full package, as I say, I'm kind of in the middle at the moment. there's good things and bad things, but I feel like hopefully it will all turn out good when, as I say, everybody comes back to the level playing field that it could bring.
The one thing I've got a problem with is this 850cc, because I presume Kirby's thinking, oh, it's type in script. It's not, because they are actually at the moment limited to the 800, because the 50cc will come from the technology boost from the specifically from the new, yes, that's it, the 100% synthetic fuel. If they can't do that, it'll be limited to 800, because in order to make the half work, they need to keep it up. So that's going to be a bit for me. And the 800 races weren't that good, were they? That's the problem as well. They were a bit not really powerful enough. Not really, the moves couldn't be done in the corners. A bit too slow, and it's like 2014-15 with Formula One, that sort of era. But the 1000cc were a general success when they got brought in. We had Assen straight away with the 7 wide for the majority of the race. That was amazing.
Races as well.
Oh, Phillip Island is always a classic when we get there. And we got Le Mans coming up this weekend, and that sometimes produces a good race, especially if it rains. And it really is tantalising because we use the Bugatti circuit, so it's so slick, and it just it just bites differently. So I'm kind of hoping we don't lose the core value of what MotoGP's become, because everyone's been coming up to me and said, "Oh yeah, well, it's just Ducati domination at the moment," and I go to them, "Is it? Is it really Ducati domination?" Because if you look at it, we've had, Bagnaya's winning, but he's not winning everything. He's only won 2 races so far out of the 4. We've had a KTM. We've had Martin winning a couple. Aprilia win, with Vinales doing, 3 races because he won 2 sprints and Kota. So we've got the Gas on the KTM, the other one, coming up for it with Acosta. It's a lot closer than people think it is, and it's only round 4 of the season. We're coming to round 5 this weekend. So, and Martin throwing away in Spain has really closed the field up. I have now seen it, by the way. Obviously, I did the commentary.
That was my notch that I didn't want to mention on the show last week without spoiling it for you. Was that is for anyone who doesn't know how we do it, I do not know the results. So basically, everything's held from me. I basically walk into the commentary box. The recording's already started. The time is the time is all synced up, and the play button gets hit for me when I say, "Okay, let's go." And it's from there that I start commentating. Megan knew the results. I didn't, but she didn't know what was happening. So every time, if you watch that race back, I'm going, "Oh no, it's not fake. I don't know what happened." I don't even no idea. So that was great. And Martin dropping it was weird. And anything can happen in MotoGP. And I think anything can happen in Formula One now. We'll get into that in Hots or Nots later on as well. So I'm with you that the regulations are sort of there at the moment. They need to be tweaked a little bit, but let's see who comes into it.